Welcome to the Child Care Director's Chair, the podcast for bold educators who are ready to lead, grow, and shake things up in early childhood education. Whether you're a teacher eyeing that lead role, a lead stepping into leadership, or a center owner dreaming big, this is your space to grow with purpose and leave your mark. Hosted by heart-centered leadership coach Erica Sacoccio, each episode brings you real talk, actionable tools, and a contagious laugh or two, all designed to help you step into your next level with confidence. So pour your coffee, pop in those earbuds, and take your seat, because your leadership journey starts right now in the Child Care Director's Chair.
Guys, it's Erica here with the Child Care Director's Chair podcast. And I'm sorry if you hear any noises in the background. I am recording from my home today. And I got my little grandson here, so if you think that you hear kids in the background, you are correct. You do. But since this is an early childhood podcast, I didn't think you would mind. You know, we have been so lucky with getting so many fan messages over the last couple of weeks. And I'm not sure if it's just with the year coming to a close or people just have decided that, hey, you know what? I'm going to reach out and start talking, which I'm so excited that you guys have been. You've been reaching out through Facebook, Instagram, or the text to show option. And I love it. And then folks finding me on YouTube as well. So no matter where you're listening today, whether it's on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, thank you so much for tuning in. Now, I want to get into it. Many of us enter the new year hoping that things will feel different. We often tell ourselves that next year we'll be more organized, we'll be more confident, we'll be more respected, or more effective as leaders. We make plans, we buy those new planning books, we set goals, and we promise ourselves that this time will be different. But what often happens is that the calendar changes and everything else stays the same. If 2025 felt heavy, exhausting, or like you were working harder than ever just to maintain the same results, then this episode's for you. Because leadership doesn't change when circumstances change. Leadership changes when we change, specifically when we change the way that we communicate. So today I want to talk about something we don't focus on enough in early childhood leadership, and that's the language of leadership. The words we choose, the tone we use, the consistency of our message quietly shapes our culture every single day, whether we realize it or not. When people hear the phrase language of leadership, they often assume it means polished corporate talk or sounding more professional. But that's not what I mean at all. Leadership language is not about being fancy, scripted, or impressive. It's about being intentional, grounded, and clear. And the language of leadership is how you communicate your expectations, your values, your boundaries, and direction in a way that builds trust rather than confusion. It's how people come to understand not only what you want from them, but how you think, what you prioritize, and what you will consistently stand behind. In early childhood especially, our words matter so deeply. We're in a relationship-based field, and our teams are watching and listening every day to determine whether our leadership feels safe, steady, and worth following. And more often than not, when leaders feel stuck or unsupported, it isn't because they don't care, and it isn't because they don't know enough. It's because their language hasn't evolved alongside their role. Leadership language is rooted in clarity, not caution. One of the biggest language shifts that leaders have to make is moving from speaking cautiously to speaking clearly. Many leaders often soften their words because they don't want to sound harsh, demanding, or unapproachable. And they worry about hurting feelings or creating discomfort, so they tiptoe around expectations instead of naming them. But clarity is not unkind. In fact, clarity is one of the greatest gifts a leader can give. When expectations are unclear, people fill in the gaps on their own. And that's when frustration, resentment, and inconsistency creep in. Leadership language sounds grounded and direct. It communicates confidence without aggression and kindness without confusion. It sounds like, this is what success looks like, or moving forward, this is the expectation. And when leaders speak clearly, teams feel safer, because they know where the line is and where they stand. And leadership language comes from decision, not emotion. Another common challenge I see is leaders communicating before they are fully settled in their decision. When their emotions are high or uncertainty is present, and leaders sometimes think out loud with their teams. While this may feel transparent, it often creates instability rather than trust. And leadership language requires internal clarity before external communication. We talked a little bit about that in yesterday's episode. This means taking the time to think, reflect, and decide before you're speaking. When leaders communicate from a place of decision rather than emotion, their words carry weight and direction. Teams don't need to hear their every internal debate. What they need is consistency. When leadership language is calm, measured, and decisive, it reassures people that someone is steering the ship even when it feels like things are challenging. And leadership language reflects confidence, not apology. Many leaders, especially in service driven fields like early childhood, overly apologize, and we use apologetic language. They apologize for setting expectations or for holding boundaries or for asking people, honestly, just to do their jobs. Over time, this weakness, authority creates a mixed message. Language replaces unnecessary apologies with confidence and appreciation. Instead of constantly saying sorry, leaders learn to say thank you. This shift maintains warmth while reinforcing the expectations. Confidence in leadership doesn't mean being cold or disconnected. It means trusting yourself enough to stand behind your decisions and communicate them without guilt. When leaders speak confidently, teams sense stability, and stability, my friends, builds trust. Now, leadership language is consistent and repetitive by design. One conversation does not create culture. Culture is built through repetition. The language you use consistently, especially in the moments of stress or tension. This teaches people what truly matters. And leaders often assume that because they've said something once, it's been understood. But leadership language must be repeated, reinforced, and modeled over time. This repetition isn't nagging, it's leadership. When teams hear the same values, expectations, and priorities communicated clearly and consistently, they begin to internalize them. And that's when leadership language stops being something you say and starts becoming something your team lives. Now, I want you to pause for a moment and reflect. If your team repeated the phrases you use most often, what would they learn about leadership? What would they hear clearly, or would it be confusion? Confidence or hesitation? Direction or uncertainty? Because the truth is, your language is shaping your leadership legacy long before you realize it. And that brings me to something I truly believe in. If you want 2026 to be different than 2025, something has to change. Not your intentions, not your workload, your investment in yourself as a leader. Getting off the hamster wheel means stepping into spaces that challenge you, that stretch you, and remind you why leadership matters. And that's exactly why we created the Early Education Empowerment Conference, happening May 7th, 8th, and 9th in beautiful Warwick, Rhode Island. This is not a conference where you sit quietly in the back and hope something sticks. This is 3 days of real conversation, practical leadership, and a community with people who understand the weight of this work. It's a space where leadership feels human and where growth feels possible. And during the entire month of January, we're offering something special. Thanks to our incredible sponsors, we are doing a buy one, get one ticket offer through January 31st. That means you can bring a colleague, a teammate, a fellow leader with you for free. Tickets are just $2.99 for all 3 days because leadership development should be accessible, not exclusive. If you're flying in, you'll be traveling through one of the best rated airports and attending what is quickly becoming one of the most impactful leadership conferences in early childhood education. This community, my friends, is powerful. Even more, it's welcoming and it feels like coming home. So head on over to the website, take a look. Your leadership will not evolve simply because the year changes, but it will grow when your language becomes more intentional, more grounded, more aligned with the leader that you are becoming. 26 can be different, but it starts with how you speak, how you lead, and how you invest in yourself. So I hope to see you all in Warwick. Talk to you soon. As always, have a great day.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Child Care Director's Chair, where we believe leaders aren't born, they're grown. If something sparked for you today, share it, shout it out, or pass it along to the next bold changemaker in childcare. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and stay connected with Erica Sakosio for more real talk leadership tools and a whole lot of inspiration. Until next time, lead with heart, grow with fire, and always remember, the chair is yours. Now own it.